I hope the start of this interview doesn't upset you. You know what I'm going to talk about, don't you? We've got to get it out of the way, mate, right? Because people are going to be tuning in. They're going to want to know your thoughts on what is currently going on at the Etihad.
I don't think anyone knows what's going on.
Jeez, mate, telling you.
Oh, we watched it last night, to be honest. We stayed up and watched it. We're just missing the players, aren't we? We're missing the players, and we're going to come back.
You sound like Pep. Go on, carry on.
Yeah, we are. We're going to come back. We always do. I've got faith in City, and I know that we'll come back. I'm not stressing. I'm not.
When you was watching the game though last night, you're obviously referring to the final game, right? So you're 3-0 up, you're cruising, you're thinking, sorted. The blip is now over.
After being 3-0 up, I was still on the edge of my seat. Do you know, someone I was with, one of my team members was like, this isn't over. And I was like, oh,
Mate.
God, here we go. And then the goals started to come and I was thinking, oh, my goodness. I couldn't watch the end of it. I didn't even watch. I just thought, leave it. I'll bring the spirit back with my new belt and then it's only up from there.
You see, this is how we're going to shoehorn this into the interview, you see. Now, is the first port of call after Friday night, you're going back to Florida or you're going back to Manchester? Where are you going?
I'm going back to Florida.
Oh, what are you playing at, right? Because Liverpool, Man City are playing on Sunday. I thought
Yeah.
you'd be bouncing down there.
No, but then we play United on the 15th, so I'll be home for the derby.
Priorities.
Yeah.
Priorities.
I hate Liverpool. It's a good job I'm not back there.
How have you found the transition from Florida to Saudi Arabia? Because it's a lot bigger than it is for me.
Yeah. I mean, the first week, very tired. The time difference was
What's
a
the
little
time
bit
difference?
funny. It's 8 hours.
Jeez,
Yeah,
right.
it's only 3 in the UK. But we knew that beforehand. I'm lucky to have a team that's experienced. A few of the fighters have been over here before and fought. So they kind of said to me, make sure you go out, before fight week. You got to get adjusted and stuff. And I'm glad I did because I was really tired the first week. But I feel like I'm adjusted now. I think routine's another thing. Because I'm fighting late, I didn't know whether to stay up late and kind of mix my body clock around a little bit, but I've got into a routine now. I'm back in the fighters hotel and I feel like I'm fine. I'll turn up and fight whatever time of the day, honestly.
I know that you've been keeping it relatively short when you step inside that smart cage, but how have you found the tournament format, the regularity of every couple of months you're back out performing?
Yeah, I suppose that helped me finishing the fights early. I don't think I took a lot of damage, unlike the other ones. But I think the training's the worst because you still have that 8-week fight camp. It doesn't matter how long you spend in the cage.
Are you able to switch off at all? Because you're kind of like in season, so you're always in camp, really, aren't you?
That is the main thing. You have to live the sport if you do a season like this, 100%. You can't be like getting ready to party once you've got your win because you're straight back in the gym. But I feel like I just live in the gym all the time anyway. So for me, that part was really easy. The one thing I did find this camp was that because I knew I was at the end, it was kind of like I was wishing it away, and it took a toll more the last fight than it did any other before. But I think that's because I know I've got 2 fights left or 3 fights left, whereas this time it was like, this is your last one, come on, let's get it done. So
I draw a few similarities between you and Mr. Loughnane, who's obviously on this card as well. Obviously, you're both from the same place, which is one tick. The second thing is that you've both been prepared to make massive personal sacrifices, lifestyle sacrifices, move away from your families in order to get the training that you believe is right for yourselves in order to push your careers on. That must be an incredibly tough thing to manage on a day-by-day basis, but also a very tough decision to make when you did make that choice of going to Florida.
Definitely, yeah. And again, like I said, Brendan lives the sport, and that is what you have to do. But that's why we're both top of the fight card. We're both, coming up with these amazing highlight reels in these fights because we put everything into it. And it is a tough move, and it probably was for Brendan. He's a Manchester boy, his family, his mum's at home. But again, that's the sacrifice that we've made, but it shows off in our performances for sure. And that's what keeps us going.
I'm sure Mr. Brown and the gang out in Florida look after you. How are you finding it on the mats out there? Because I tell you what, it's a murderer's row on them mats when you're out there working, isn't it?
It is. Honestly, I love the team in Florida, and I think that's what makes it easier when you find a team that feels like home, which was important to me because I've been under my mum's guidance for the whole of my Thai boxing career, so it was important that I found something that was just like that, that represented home but in Florida, and that's what I found with ATT, and I think that's what's made the journey so much better.
I think the beautiful thing for any fight fan or person in the media that is covering this particular week, that we've seen you perform in the cage, we've seen you do what you do, But then when it's fight week, you actually get to see friends, family that come over to support you and what have you. And everybody who's followed your story knows, obviously, your mum was a fighter as well, and there's this kind of the lineage and the pathway.
Yeah.
I saw her this morning, and I've spoken to her briefly, and she was speaking like it was her fight week, if that makes sense, because she's kind of living it vicariously through you. It must be difficult from her point of view. You're a daughter, but you're also a person that she trained to the level that you're currently at.
Yeah, and she's also a fighter herself.
Yes.
So she's got like emotions of the mum. She's got emotions like of a
I feel
fighter.
for her, mate.
I know.
I feel for her.
She's got them fighter emotions as well. So she actually deals with it better than anybody else because she's had practice controlling what she's feeling, which you have to understand as a fighter, that you have to get used to the feelings because they never go away. You don't get used to them nerves when you fight. They just get more and more every time. So she's kind of used to that and knows how to control it, whereas my dad, on the other hand, is opposite. He's little girls fighting, he's a parent, like it's difficult. But my mum, she's got the emotions of ready to get in herself, like she's up for it.
But how good is that for you to have her around this week, because she's been there, done it, got the t-shirt. She can calm your dad down when needed, calm down some mates when needed, and also if you need a soundboard, she's there. Yeah,
I think that is the thing, but she also knows when to leave me alone.
Fair.
So she knows when to, step in and say, "Are you okay?" But she also knows not to ask me if I'm okay, because that's the most irritating question you can ask a fighter.
Of course. Yeah.
Are you all right? How are you feeling?
Yeah.
So she's just like the main person that I want around, and I've been away from her now for like 10 weeks, I think. This camp I haven't seen her at all. Normally she'll fly over to Florida and try and get a little bit of a holiday, but my brother came over this time earlier for my camp to work with me a bit more, so she didn't get that opportunity. So it's been tough to be away from her, but yeah, she's like the most understanding person, the one person that I couldn't do it without, for sure.
This is kind of asking you a question that you've told me not to just ask you then, right? But how do you process this particular fight? Because to a fighter, it's any other fight, right?
Yeah.
It's a fight. I'm going to go and do my thing on Friday evening. But the ramifications are obviously absolutely ginormous.
Yeah. It's just another fight. This is just another day for me to go in the cage and spar a girl and win, and that's literally how I have to treat it, how I have to speak to myself. It's a self-talk, it is a big night. I know I'm fighting for $1 million, I'm fighting for a world title, but at the same time, if this was a normal fight and I was fighting the same girl, I have to remember that would be absolutely fine. So don't put that extra pressure on yourself. But that is mentally the way you have to talk to yourself. It is a big day, but for us, it's just another day in the office, and that's how I treat it.
Do you draw on any other past experiences of all the tournaments that you've been to? Like, I'm sure you've been under massive pressure before like that, where people have expected certain things, or maybe you've expected certain things of yourself. Are you drawing on those past experiences?
Definitely, yeah. I think doing the European tournament last year really helped, because that was still a lot of money to me. Obviously, a European title, it was a big moment. And as well, like, I've got pressures constantly. Like, my mum used to be a fighter. I've got an unbeaten record. I keep getting these stoppages, and I'm fighting now in Saudi. I want to make a statement over here. So, two other of my teammates from the same gym are fighting for the world title, and I want to be one to get the belt with them, So it's like there's so many pressures, but I'm just kind of experienced with dealing with them, and it's just another day for me.
Where does that mentality come from? Because those pressures and those things are going to be spoken about, right? Media, like, I'm going to do programs on it saying Dakota's never been to the judges, she's finishing these people, all these types of things, right? And that's for us to build and what have you. But all that's kind of irrelevant as long as it doesn't go in between your own ears.
Yeah.
So where does that mentality come from?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I don't care about all the media and all that stuff. I've kind of, my mum keeps me very humble, my family keep me humble, so they're just like, whatever they're going to say in the media, let them. And for me, as long as I'm in that gym every day, I haven't skipped a session, I've put my all into everything, that's what matters when I get in the cage. So if someone wants to write something on the internet, that's not going to lose me or win me a fight, What I've done in the gym is what matters when I get in that cage. So that's kind of my full focus. My comments on Instagram, I don't read. Like, the good ones I don't read, the bad ones I don't read.
That's
because,
good.
For me, I get my confidence through how I'm training. So that's just the way I mentally think.
Do you, when you train, is it specifically about you, or is it now game planning for a particular fighter? Because obviously Taila brings certain attributes to the fight on Friday evening.
Of course, yeah.
Is there something catered for what she's going to be bringing you on Friday?
Yeah, definitely. There's a mix. You know, we have to train for a specific fighter, different style, but at the same time, if I'm just 100% best, like my best, then it doesn't matter what she's going to do. So I kind of focus a lot on what my good points are, work on my bad points as well. But yeah, we do a little bit of a mix.
What does she do well? What do you see?
She's tough, right? I don't know whether anyone's stopped her at all. I think I don't know whether anyone does, but she always goes like 3 rounds, 5 rounds.
Yeah.
So I know that she's going to be tough. She's experienced, you know. She's strong. I'm probably like the leaner looking person out of this whole season that's been in this tournament for me. So she's got the strength, but at the same time, like I don't see the aggression or anything that I bring, you know, and I haven't in any of the girls, and I think that's what makes the difference with me.
Is part of this fight the excitement of, you know what level that she's been at, you know who she's been in with, and you know who she's pushed to whatever level, i.e. Valentina Shevchenko, for example, right? Is part of the, for want of a better phrase, the turn on, the thrill of pitting what you do against that to prove that you're of the level that you know that you're at?
Yeah, but I don't think about that all the time. It's just like, this is an exciting fight for me because everyone's talking about you're fighting Taila Santos.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm beating Taila Santos is my mentality. Like, if you guys think this is a massive fight, this is a massive win, you know? So for me, definitely motivates me, and it's a good stepping stone for me to be like, now what are you going to say? You've said that she's she nearly beat Shevchenko, or people thought she did. You know, she's fought Erin Blanchfield, top of the UFC division, and you know, had good fights with all them. So when I beat them, what are you going to say now? Because I'm going to be a step above her, so then are you going to be doubting me then? So things like that goes through my head. I'm excited. I like being the underdog. I have so many other pressure. It's nice sometimes to be like, I wonder what's going to happen here. Yeah.
Are you also, because you keep things so short, you're in there, you're knocking people out, and you're the highlight reel, right? Are you actually looking forward to putting the work that maybe other people haven't seen out there on the mat, so they can actually say, hang on a minute, she's far much more than this elite striker?
Yeah, do you know what? I would I say I want to.
Would you rather just keep it a secret and go on then? I'd just rather knock her out in the first round.
I'm gonna fight 5 rounds, and nobody's gonna say like, oh, she did really well, or maybe her wrestling is good. They're just gonna say that was boring fight. She should have got a stoppage.
I think people who know MMA though would say, actually.
But they're not the ones that write on the internet.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, fair enough.
All the trolls are going to be like, yeah, that was boring. She lasted 5 rounds. She didn't get a highlight reel. So for me, like, I'm just going to go in and do my thing. Like, for me, I want to be exciting. That's what fighters do well in this sport. You know, they're the people that get watched the most, get the most sponsors, get the most attention.
Yeah.
The people that are coming up with the highlight reels. So for me, I'll go in and try and get a first round stoppage. If I get a 5 round fight and I get to show more, happy days. Because, you know, I work hard in the gym and don't get to show all that stuff. But at the same time, I'm not asking for a 5 round fight. I want to be like healthy and fighting for a few more years.
No, absolutely. Is it the Haaland this week? Which I don't know what the celebration is at the moment. What's the? Or have you got something?
Do you know what? I'm gonna admit I haven't got one.
Don't need one.
I haven't got one. I don't need one. Yeah, but I'm gonna be the. I'm just gonna celebrate and do whatever. We ain't getting one from City this time.
I think the realization of completing the season to the max in the PFL will be, I don't know whether it will be overwhelming, I don't know, we'll find out in the moment, won't we? And I'm sure nature will take its course when it comes to the celebration.
It definitely will, yeah. It'll just be natural like it always is. I'm sure I'll come up with a few one-liners as well, like I always do.
Have you enjoyed the season format? Have you found that it's benefited your style?
Yeah, I feel like it really has. You know, I enjoyed it. A lot of people at ATT say to me, wow, you're back in camp again. This is your 3rd fight. I haven't fought once this year. Not once. And
So
I'm
defense
like...
was good there. You were
I know.
swaying well.
Yeah, they say to me, I've not fought once this year in UFC, you know, so people don't get fights like this unless you're in a tournament. So for me, it's nice at 26 years old to stay busy, make some money, you know, and then be able to achieve new goals next year. I would do it again next year because I enjoyed the season, but we'll see what happens. Yeah.
See, you just took the question straight out of my mouth then.
Yeah.
We'll leave it, but the main concentration is Friday evening.
Yeah.
And coming through in your normal style on Friday evening, and I'm sure next year takes care of itself. How have you, and I know that this happens to you quite a lot, You're inspiring a new generation of fight fan, both young boys and young girls. I know that are contacting you on a regular basis, talking about their own journeys in martial arts. How much are you enjoying that? How much are you enjoying them coming to you, asking you for the advice and kind of being an inspiration for these youngsters now that are seeing Dakota Ditcheva and going, I want to be like her?
Yeah, do you know what? That is the one thing that does make me really happy, you know, with like when even my mum having a gym full of, you know, young girls and even young boys, but the amount of girls that I get at my mum's gym, or, you know, we had a teenage class that was like majority girls over boys, and we were like so happy to see that, and it's nice that I can make that little bit of a difference. But it's also nice that my mum's done that for a generation, and now I'm doing it, and now hopefully when I have children, they'll do it as well. So it's important for me that as well, you know, going around and just inspiring people, whether it's this sport or any sport, you know, just to do sport, not necessarily MMA. Absolutely. But it's changed my life so much. So it's something that, you know, I'm passionate about for sure.
Well, from my own personal point of view, I'd like to say thank you, because I've got 2 kids, and
thanks.
my son has his heroes, the likes of the Tom Aspinalls of this world and what have you. But my daughter has singled out you.
Oh,
she's only 8,
that's so sweet.
And she was in a tournament at the weekend, and she had to fight a boy in the final.
Oh.
She got a silver medal, but she only lost by a point in a kickboxing tournament.
That is amazing.
So there you go. Maybe next time she can get a
There
gold.
you go, see. And you know what? People will probably look up to that little girl on the day and see that she was fighting a boy and be like, wow, maybe we can do it.
Absolutely.
It's the same for me. I used to fight boys when I was younger, and that probably inspired other girls to do that too. And that's amazing that she's done that, 8 years old, and probably people are inspired by that on the day. So you'd be surprised.
Well,
she'll be on to
from
great
me,
things.
thank you very much. You keep
Thank
doing your
you.
thing. Enjoy your week.
Thanks.
For people that are going to be tuning in, give it me. Tell me how this is going down.
Make sure you don't turn it on late, because it'll probably be done by the time you switch it on. But enjoy the fight. You know, this is a massive night for me and for Brendan. You know, 2 world titles coming home to Manchester, and we can't wait to put on a show for you.